Peace, everybody. Welcome to Elephant in the Room here on Roll Tide Pods. Great to have you. Part of Disrupt the Media. Our show is brought to you by Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. We got an NBA. I was going to say the Final Four, but we don't have a championship game, but maybe you, by the time you see this, it'll probably be over. Bet on the lunar eclipse. No, I'm just kidding. Don't bet on that now. Lance got you covered, though. Football, college football, basketball, golf, all that stuff at lanceslock.com. And we're also presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Use the promo code the next round, like my hat right here. Next round gets you half off to up to $1,000 price match on that initial wager. He's Jake Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie, and man, I feel like there's like a million things we didn't talk about. Good to be back in the same spot again.
Oh, I know. Finally, about time back in the mothership.
Yeah, it feels good in here, except for the fact that I had a CO2 leak, and you may have one more blue moon left till I get that fixed. I'm back over here trying to fix the thing, and I'm like, something just isn't right. Yeah. And then I realized, like, something's not right.
No fuel in the tank.
No fuel in the tank. And I just bought a new tank, but it just dumb me. Tighten something good enough, and so I'm drinking beer out of a can. I'm over here like trying to fix it, and I'm like, man, this isn't fixable.
That's right.
Well,
tough loss, but hey, proud of the team. Can't be too down and out about a season like that or a run like that in the tournament.
No, no, they played a good game.
But I tell you what, it'd be nice to be playing tonight. I'd be glued to that TV.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it anyway, though. But
oh yeah,
I don't want to. I can't even brag about this because everybody else kind of same as me. But I got both of these teams playing in all my brackets.
Yeah,
I just switched who won.
Yeah.
So I'm going to win and lose tonight, but I can't win any of them. Like the next round, I'm like 130 or something. And then in the other one I'm in, I'm like, my brackets are like 3 and 7, but I can't win.
Yeah.
Did you do the next round? I sent you the thing.
No, I meant to. That was that week I had to go to that wedding and out of town. And
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I blew it. Yeah. Went to Charleston. We beat Charleston.
I know, but I mean, like, it takes 10 minutes to do a bracket. And you probably win.
It drives me nuts about a bracket, though, is you have no idea for 60% of the games what, or at least I don't.
You can look at the spreads, though. The first round spreads, right?
I mean, I could if I had an idea of where I thought the public would be for my system, at least.
What if we watched tried to watch every basketball game and then did the bracket? It'd take a lot of work. But you'd have to be better because, how many of the teams did you really see play?
I saw the SEC teams play.
That's right.
Purdue play. And
a handful.
I don't know if I watched UConn all year.
I was sick. Remember, I was sick twice. It's great.
Yeah.
Stomach flu and then got the real flu, so I was like out. And when I had the flu, the real flu was the ACC tournament. So I watched North Carolina State and they were just like, I was like, man, these guys are good. So I'd seen them, but I mean, you're like any of those teams.
You could tell early on that they were not going to be able to last against Purdue.
No. They Cinderella slipper broke.
Yeah. I mean, they were the big guy was struggling up and down the floor, in the first half.
Did you know he was at Tennessee?
I had no idea.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like I'm kind of curious to why he left. I've heard different things.
I had no idea he was at Tennessee.
Yeah, but he didn't look big at all. I mean, he was kind of more athletic, but he was fun to watch.
Yeah. He doesn't he looks like a NC State type guy.
Does he?
Yeah.
He looks like a guy that would love that Shaq-a-roni pizza. You know what I mean? Put me in there with him. I'll split one with the guy.
That should be an NIL deal.
Yeah, really. If Shaq and Charles Barkley got together and had a kid, He was my favorite player in the tournament, though. I loved him outside of the Alabama guys.
Yeah,
You know, I was
yeah.
pulling for them.
Man, my favorite player out of the tournament after, from start to finish, having watched Alabama play all year, was Grant Nelson. I mean, you talk about.
And I see you got the mustache going.
Oh my
A slight mustache like him.
I guess I need to shave twice a day now.
Look, listen, Goose. Just keep on. You keep on riding like that. I appreciate it. Who would have thought that guy would have looked the game he had that last game?
I mean, the dunk on the big guy from UConn was. I was watching it with my wife, my oldest daughter, and my mother-in-law, and I was about to toss them all across the room.
Let's go.
That was a great moment, though.
It was.
He had a couple plays there on that same run that, made it look like he was about to slay the giant,
I think there might be something to your philosophy on gambling, though. Because I've kind of figured this out, right? So the spread was 11.5.
Yeah.
Which means they wanted you to take Bama.
Yeah.
But you take UConn.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. The officiating in that game wasn't kind to Alabama. There's a lot of fouls that it almost felt like late. Get him up there.
Yeah, we kept it exciting for long enough.
Yeah, right.
Let's get those 12 points.
Right. Tony's at the tunnel right now, guys. I'm just kidding.
I
gotta say that
to me, it's all about cornering the public, figuring out where Mick Gillispie's going to be, and hammer away on the other
side. Throwing it on me. Let's figure out what old Mick's doing.
Mick, who you betting on?
Johnny Public.
Alabama.
Yeah. 10.5.
Let me take note on that.
Blitz, Bama, blitz. Boop.
You see that video?
Yeah.
Him yelling at Kane?
Yeah. He just makes me laugh. There was we'll get into that in a second. Remind me, because I want to stay on basketball before we talk about Roll Tide Willie at football practice with Funny Mane. Funny Mane is?
Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah. I didn't see it.
Now it's a who's who of Alabama that shows up.
Oh, he was there too?
Oh, yeah.
You might have to run the clip for me.
Yeah. But back to the basketball games, Alabama played well. I mean, UConn was just good. I mean, they were just good. And it's a different level of basketball.
We shot 45% from three. You knew we weren't going to dominate the paint. Shot like 80% in the first half, and we're still down 5. That's when you shoot 80% from three at half, taking 12 threes, and you're losing by 5 points. You're in trouble.
Right.
I mean, just what are you going to do? They just grind you out, and they can shoot the three too. I think they shot 40% over the entirety of the game, and then outscored us in the paint by like 15 buckets or 15 points, something like that.
Yeah, they were better. They there was a point where they were just dunking on us every play.
Yeah, I mean, the worst part about it is that they get on these runs and they're unstoppable. They'll score 10 points in 2 minutes or less,
which is what we should be able to do. And I saw today where I think it's Sports Illustrated. Let me see here. Just want to get this right for you. Sporting News. Bama's way too early preseason poll. Number 1.
We have 3 5-stars coming in, I believe.
Yeah. Plus, I mean,
all
do you
from
think
California? Yeah.
Well, a lot of hoops out there. Do you think that that Sears stays?
Okay. Yeah, here's something I want to talk. We honored Sears on senior night and Grant Nelson, yet they're coming back.
Can they? Is it still part of COVID?
Hell, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're considered seniors now.
I don't know. I just know he can come back. I'm almost
Because
positive.
Wrightsell, Estrada, Sears, and Grant Nelson to me were honored on senior night, and I thought they were done. This whole COVID year, I can't keep up with it. I mean, guys are playing for 6 years now.
Yeah, he can come back. I hope he comes back. I mean,
Grant Nelson can too, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he needs to come back.
But Grant Nelson is one of those guys to me that has a ton of potential, but has played in a conference or a league that hasn't challenged him enough as, you know, he probably should be challenged. And finally, when all this, I mean, the intensity of the tournament comes around, you finally see the player he is when he just doesn't give a shit anymore. And he, you know, wants the ball. You know, during the regular season, it was almost like he'd catch the ball and he was timid with it.
Right.
Trying to get the ball out of his hands. Just wasn't as free with the ball as he started to be after we played North Carolina, or when we played North Carolina. You just saw him making plays that you never thought he could make. But yeah, I mean, him playing in the SEC, I think is going to make him a totally different player. Next year, he's going to be really dangerous. I hope he can put on some weight.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, these guys know now that they can do it.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine what we'd have been able to do with Betty Acco? I mean,
yeah.
And it's not like, I don't think he, you know, would have been the best player on the floor by any means, but just a body that could have, you know, beat up on the big guys. Purdue earlier in the year when we played Edie, and then the UConn center, the North Carolina center.
Yeah.
I mean, when we played those guys, we just couldn't compete down low.
So, yeah, no, I'm with you. So, man, it's crazy, like how the whole thing went. Alabama played out of their minds this year. Last year they had the best team, and they were out in the Sweet 16, but they get to the Final Four. They put up a good fight. You know, I guess the question now is about the future and who stays and who goes, and I guess that's a good time to transition to the shocker.
Let me tell you what, if Nate Oates goes to Kentucky, I find a way to go meet Greg Byrne and say, hey, you better start looking for a baseball coach, because that's next. We're going to lose them all.
Yeah,
football,
right.
Basketball, baseball.
Right.
Stay on your toes, because I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I can't imagine Nate Oates leaves.
Yeah, Calipari going to Arkansas though was how shocking was that?
I mean, that's like we were talking before the show started. That's a big time screw you, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they didn't. The fans hated him.
It's a
they
respectable screw you, you know, not avoiding the buyout.
Mm-hmm.
But man, take a pay cut and leave Kentucky to go to Arkansas. And Arkansas is a storied program, good in basketball, had been for a long time, just having a few rough years. But I mean, how many coaches are going to voluntarily leave Kentucky to go to Arkansas? Not many.
But when people don't want you there,
yeah,
you know, you might as well, you know, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, you just sit around.
Well, it's like we talked about earlier in the year. It did seem like, I mean, Alabama's better than Kentucky now. Yeah. Auburn's better than Kentucky now.
Oh, the way they played in the tournament was just horse shit.
I mean, yeah, Kentucky's
both tournaments,
you know, just above average, you know, in the SEC.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, that's rarely the case, obviously. But it just seems like Calipari's on cruise control.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like to me the last few years.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't know, maybe that's what he needs to go somewhere else, prove himself somewhere else, and get that drive, that chip on his shoulder back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes a change of scenery like that's good. Or Arkansas's, you know, going to get a guy that's going to can recruit, and just it didn't look like he had the fire to me.
Yeah,
maybe he'll find it. You know,
cruise control. But I mean, hey, man. Kentucky basketball, it's a lot like Alabama in football. You know, there's a standard.
Yeah.
And it can get old, I'm sure, for coaches that are around forever.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it wears on the players a little bit, I think. You know, but at the same time, you also want that because the standard is so high, and you're given the resources to win national championships, and that's why you go there, because there's such a big emphasis on it.
Yeah. So do you think? I mean, do you think there's a chance that they would pay $18 million on a buyout and then make him the highest paid coach?
I mean, if they were stockpiling cash to pay a $30 million buyout, and they're relieved to have to only have to pay 18.
I would pay him.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, I'm a believer.
I mean, Nate Oates' value has never been higher than right now.
Yeah. He's so interesting. I just doubt that somebody's going to be like, here's 18 million, Alabama. And it'll be 18 million for our men's team to look like our women's team. You know, we'll celebrate making the tournament once every, twice a decade, like, and pretend that we don't even have one anymore.
Yeah.
And that sucks because right now we're in it to win it, man. This is as good as it's been.
Yeah. But the problem is, we're trying to build funds for football NIL, and we gotta figure out a way to get it up there for basketball as well.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, the number needs to be in the multi-millions, and we're not there.
Yeah.
So
you might have to dip into that savings.
That's right.
You might have to hit him with some of that NFL cash. I can't do it. I'm barely skidding by here.
Yeah.
No,
I could keep that money in a fanny pack.
Yeah, right. might be time to legalize marijuana in Alabama. All the money goes to NIL.
That's right.
I was in Chicago last week, and it's just like it's everywhere,
Oh yeah. That's what Sarah and I went to Aspen for our honeymoon, and man, you'd walk down the hall and it was like, it was like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah. If it was going, like, we would never approve it. I mean, we don't even have legalized gambling, which
is insanity.
But if the money went towards Alabama NIL, people would be like, woo. Now, if it went to Auburn, they'd be like, religious. No. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, don't get me into the Alabama gambling fiasco.
It's really, you'd be surprised, but it's more of a hot button discussion because the people that are against it are really against it, and the people that are for it,
then just don't do it. I mean, the amount of money you could raise for just public schools.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to gamble and lose, I mean, what better place for that lost money to go to than Alabama public schools?
Instead of Florida, right?
Yeah.
And Mississippi.
Yeah.
And Tennessee. The crazy thing is if they just followed your secret formula, everybody would win. Because I'll tell you what, man.
Vegas would have to change their tactics.
The more I look at it, it's like, what were you last year? Were you over 65%? Right?
In football, yeah.
And it's
I was in the 60s.
So when you get those lines that look suspicious, like, what are we doing here?
It's fishy.
It's fishy. You take what Vegas does.
When
they tell you to do this, you do this.
Yeah. If you feel scared out of your mind to take it, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
like I used it North Carolina, Bama. I remember it was 3.5. It was 4.5. Everybody's on Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. And Bama won outright. And you said you saw that line and you were like, yeah, this is one. And then this last one, I'm like 11.5. We're getting blown out.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah. I mean, there were a few football games from South Alabama, Oklahoma State. I mean, that was one that was like South Alabama, I think, was a 6-point dog at Oklahoma State. Made no sense whatsoever. They win 30-6 or something like that.
Oh yeah, and you would have loaded up on the on the
Jags.
You would have loaded up on the Jags, but
the public was absolutely crucifying Oklahoma.
Yeah,
State.
Oklahoma State. Everybody would have took that like, oh man.
Oh yeah.
And then that money's
too easy to make.
Yeah. They're giving it away.
Yeah, that's right. Or it's like double-digit national championships.
Yeah.
In college football. I mean, it's going to be a blowout. There's TCU Georgia. It was a 12-point line. I think it was at least 12. Then the public was all over TCU. It's a national championship. Everybody thinks the teams are pretty similar. And then it's 64-7 at the end of the game or something like that.
Boy, that was terrible. That was a hard one to watch right there.
Oh, yeah.
Awful.
Unwatchable.
Yeah. So Connecticut against.
What is the line on that one?
6.5.
See,
Connecticut's
stay away from. That sounds like a pretty good line to me.
Does it?
I mean,
that's one where you can't really read it. So you're going, hey, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was 4, I'd be like, okay, Purdue.
Yeah.
Purdue's looking good. But it's I've also heard this. I listened to Danny Sheridan on the radio one time on Dan Patrick, and he was talking about lines and overs and unders, and he was like, if the over under looks small, take the under. That's kind of where I mean.
Oh yeah, it's kind of the same philosophy.
Yeah, if it looks like it's a big, a lot of points, take the over.
Hey guys, don't forget you're hanging out with us here on Roll Tide Pods on Elephant in the Room. Get in the comments section and tell us what you thought about the Final Four. Alabama coming up short to UConn with Jake Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie. And again, great to have all of you guys hanging out with us. I'm not depressed. I'm just a little tired, but I thought Alabama played a really great game. I just thought UConn was better. And then I think Nate Oates is going to stay. I just don't see them throwing out the 18 mil. But if it happens, hey, it happens. I mean, we just won't have a basketball program anymore. Maybe we can go get Anthony Grant back again to be rude to everybody.
Hey, it said it was paused on there. I thought it was paused. But no, yeah, the last thing I want to see is us go back.
It would be depressing to you, wouldn't it? You've enjoyed this so much.
Oh my gosh! I love Alabama basketball.
Yeah,
love it. And I would. I mean, when we beat North Carolina and Clemson, that was one of the best weeks of Alabama sports I've ever watched and enjoyed. Especially when we weren't supposed to, I mean, last year we went in the first overall seed and it was like, we lost San Diego State. It was like, you're mad about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost to UConn. It was like, I mean, I get it,
Right.
We'd have had to shoot 75% from 3 to win that game.
How about the Eclipse? Did you
didn't look like much of an eclipse to me.
Did you get scared?
I kept hearing all these weird, philosophical predictions about the eclipse. So I was wondering what was going on, but I didn't really. Did you notice anything? I was inside. I was at 2:00. I was looking outside to see if it got darker, but I didn't notice anything.
I kept hearing rumblings, and I was like, "Whoa, is that something happening?" And then it started raining.
Aliens coming out of the bay.
Yeah, the water's too shallow for them there.
How do you know that's not where they like to be?
Because I just know they're deep water. They're deep water creatures. No, I. How about the people that drove to like Texas and it was cloudy?
Oh, crazy!
Like hours, to see.
I got a buddy from Arkansas sent me a good picture, but Arkansas declared a state of emergency for all the tourists that were coming down to see it.
Really?
Yeah.
We should have gone. What we should have done was we should have made like Eclipse like swag and went up there and sold it. like just like pop-up vendors. People were like parked on the side of the roads. T-shirts, hats.
You think Calipari made it in time to see the eclipse?
Yeah. No, he's gone. He's gone out of Kentucky. He cleared his office out.
That wasn't a long trip. I mean, Arkansas. Well, it's probably what a 10-hour drive. 8-hour drive?
I don't know. It's a long way from there. I'll tell you, man, you're
right.
not a that town. There's not a lot of cooking in that town.
Arkansas?
Yeah, Fayetteville. I mean, it's got a little bit, but not a whole lot.
You've been to Little Rock? I've never been there.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, Fayetteville. We that was one of those places where the stadium, it's a nice stadium, but it's a smaller SEC stadium,
right,
at least from what I remember. And I remember I was warming up on the sideline, and it's one of those stadiums where you can hear the individual voices, kind of like Maryland. Mm-hmm. Maryland was worse because you could really hear them.
Yeah.
But Arkansas, man, yeah, there were some very backwoods comments coming out of that. That student section, man.
You're just trying to get the ball and snap it and throw it, and then you got to sit there and listen to that crap.
I was like, this haircut was for charity. Jeez.
That's pretty funny. Man, that's crazy. All that for nothing. Well, I guess in Arkansas it wasn't, but no, I mean, like the next, it's like 2044. The next time it'll be an eclipse like this.
Wait, when will the next eclipse be?
Like this, 2044. So,
yeah,
that's a long time from now.
Because the last one was 85.
Yeah,
something
like that. Yeah, I remember it. And
yeah, you're probably what, like 30 when that
happened. I feel like I was. Look, there was a lot to drink about this weekend. Okay.
I wanted to see old Caitlin Clark get one.
Yeah, well, it's like I'm one of the only people in the state of Alabama that talks women's basketball, and it's because I spent years as the broadcaster.
Yeah,
so I watched it, and
it
can be a fun game, man. I mean, if you got good players, it could be a fun game.
And I think I mentioned last week that LSU game. Yeah, I did. That LSU Iowa game, I set time aside to make sure I watched that game, and because that was the first time I'd watched Caitlin Clark play.
Oh yeah,
and I hadn't been paying too much attention to it, but the shots she was making, the shots she made yesterday, she pulled up from like almost half court yesterday.
Yeah. She needed to make a few more though. South Carolina beat them.
Yeah, but I mean, that run they went on in the beginning. I mean, you just Iowa didn't pass the eye test. They were not.
They weren't.
You could tell they weren't as physical and athletic as South Carolina.
Yeah, and they missed too many like layups and stuff.
Yeah,
and they did that the whole time. Like Clark kind of bailed them out on that.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what. If I was like, Tennessee or somewhere like that. She's got another year of eligibility, but she's going to the WNBA. They don't have any money. I'd just be like, look, we'll NIL pay you to stay here.
I was about to say, what? I mean,
can you imagine like her at Tennessee?
She's going to make millions in NIL. And when you leave Iowa, you don't know if you're going to get that kind of attention in the WNBA.
Yeah, right.
And I doubt she does, honestly.
Back-to-back championship game losses. I mean, come back one more year, maybe if you stay at Iowa, they go out and get you a little more help.
I mean, I can't imagine how much money all those commercials she was doing.
Yeah.
She had to have made north of $5 million, I would think.
That's right. Yeah, it was fun, man. Watching them against LSU was fun.
It's one thing. The NFL is one thing where you're going to get paid. What kind of contract do you think she's going to get in the WNBA?
I don't know. Like $1 million, maybe? I don't know.
Because I think the league minimum is like 80 to 100.
Is it?
It used to be, if I remember right. But I mean, with NIL, these college kids, especially if I'm playing women's basketball, and you've got, the tournament is the biggest money-making marketing machine ever.
62,000
That's the
is
minimum.
the minimum. So she's not going to get that though. I don't think. Right?
No way. She's
going to get drafted first.
Yeah.
And then be able to. Well, I guess if she declares she can't do this, but you know, like
she has been getting a lot of hate. It's crazy.
I know.
I mean, the jealousy among that alumni is just insane.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of jealousy.
I mean, about the only thing I can say, she might get a little mouthy with the refs sometimes, and it's a little annoying. But I mean, you know, at the same time, some pretty rough performances by referees here in both tournaments, men's and women's.
Yeah, no, I know.
But basketball is the worst officiated sport. The blocking fouls and the charge fouls. I mean, you just never know what they're going to call on those.
I know.
I have no idea.
Yep, I'm with you. You know, and you just have to kind of bear with it. You know, kind of hope it goes your way.
And sometimes you just about have to get the hatchet out to get a foul called, and then and then sometimes they call something crazy on Grant Nelson. He's just got a target on his back. They're just going to blow the whistle on him at some point.
Yeah, I loved it though that he dunked on the big guy.
Oh,
he dunked on Klingon. Like, I mean, it was pretty funny. You know, if Stevenson could have scored a little bit, if Pringle could have scored, there just wasn't, outside of Nelson and Sears, there wasn't really a whole lot of help this game.
Yeah.
We didn't have that guy that just kind of came out of nowhere, but we were close, man.
No.
I love that Nate Oates was like, look, we're going to come back and win this.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I think that's why I don't think he's going to, multiple reasons, but I mean, again, I think he loves Alabama, loves Tuscaloosa. I think from what I've heard, his kids absolutely love Tuscaloosa. And then you have a run like that, and you get, this fan base behind you.
Yes. Let me say this right there is that we have to do a better job as fans of supporting basketball. I think we can all agree on that. We need to bring the same passion as the Fluffopotamus.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we're there now because of the fact that we see what can be done. You know, you get to a Final Four, and Alabama fans love a winner.
Yep.
When baseball won, they used to have a big crowd. Softball, big crowds. Gymnastics, big crowds. And they'll have big crowds. If women's basketball was any good, they'd have big crowds. You know, we love a winner. You know, we support football. So I think that he's going to have – I'd be surprised anyway if this year comes and there's those games where they're like half empty. I think people are going to show up and go.
Yeah. Do we have any transfers coming in this year, you know of?
I think I don't know, but I think that we're going to hit some. And there's some big dudes that are some big centers are transferring.
Yeah. I think I was looking at it last night. I think we have the eighth ranked recruiting class in the country right now, not including transfers. I think that was just high school recruits. Kind of weird, but all three of them are from California, which is to me a testament to Nate Oates getting 3 California guys to come to Alabama.
Darren Reed, Aiden Sherrill, and Nas Cunningham.
Aren't there 2 from the same city in California?
5-star, 5-star, 4-star.
How big are they? What
and one transfer, Pepperdine guard, Houston Mallet.
How big are those recruits?
Very big.
Like huge?
It's giant. I don't know. I got to look at that. You're making these wheels spin too fast.
Talking to you like Jamie on the Joe Rogan podcast.
You ready? Reed is 6'7", 6'7", 180 pounds from Napa, California.
My gosh, that
6'10", 215 from Napa, California. And then Cunningham is 6'7", 180.
6'7", 180.
And Mallet is coming from Pepperdine, Alabama, 6'5", 185. But, one of the things that you've got to have is experience. And the way that you do that now is you pluck guys off of other rosters at smaller schools that come in. And, look at Dalton Connect. He was a small school guy, went to Tennessee, and he was the best player in the conference this year.
Yeah. Estrada, man, he from Hofstra. Ended up being a huge part of Alabama's success this year.
Mm-hmm.
Handled the ball well, didn't turn the ball over really. When he had the ball in his hands, you kind of felt like we were in a good spot,
Right.
Man, I hate that. Yeah, I know he's done. He's got no eligibility left. But how about that for his first ever tournament experience going to the Final Four?
Yeah, it's time to run it back now, I think, right?
I think we got to get past the Final Four next year.
Yeah.
The only bad thing about making the Final Four is the disappointment from now on when you don't get that kind of excitement.
Yeah. Well, it's a mission, You talk about my, my Maryland basketball days. They made the Final Four and then they won the championship the next year. First time they ever made it, So you got to get over that hump. And, a lot of it's expectations. It's like, hey, we got to make the Final Four. And I knew that going in. We were pretty excited about making it. You got to have those expectations like we're going to win it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we are right now, with this program. So it's really exciting, honestly. And it gives us, just as content creators, a lot more to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
What about Bruce Pearl going to Kentucky? I read some tweets today that said that they felt like he was a serious contender and interested in that job.
Bruce Pearl, I feel like, is in a greater position to leave Auburn and go to Kentucky than Nate Oates.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like it's too soon for Nate Oates right now. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I get it. To me, he's the best coach.
I feel like there's some wishful thinking in here, too.
I think he is a perfect fit for Alabama. Yeah, it is.
It would be the dumbest thing you could ever do if you were Nate Oates to become the highest paid coach in basketball with an arena full of a brand new arena, nicest arena in the country, and crazy fans and NIL money that he just couldn't even deal with. It's fun not having NIL money. I don't know. I think he stays. $18 million is just that is an exorbitant amount of money for a buyout.
Yeah.
And they said it that way. And then somebody said to me, isn't there a part of this too where you give your word that you're going to do something and you do it? Didn't he just sign a contract? Hey, I'm staying. Or does that matter?
It matters as long as the institution offering that contract does everything they say they're going to
do. Right.
So new arena, a lot more NIL money.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
It's kind of like I've heard, though. A lot of people, to me, maybe on the inside, look, you tell him you're going to do something, you do it. He's going to stick around and be loyal. If not, then help him pack his bags,
Yeah.
But
you got a good feeling he's going to stay. It'd be great if they took Bruce Pearl's ready for that Kentucky job.
I think so too.
I think it would be great.
But I don't want to stoop down to that little brother Auburn level. Because the amount of garbage, the trash that they've talked about us making it to the Final Four and not, gonna lose in the Sweet 16, whatever. If we were gonna do it last year, we'll never do it. And then now they're all pulling for Nate Oates to leave and go to Kentucky. I just got to break it to them like this: you're not ever going to be Alabama, no matter what.
Yeah,
it's like I remember. I guess it was when Jalen's freshman year. We lost to Auburn. Then prior to that game happening, I had a buddy of mine who went to Auburn, and he's telling me how Auburn's going to beat us and this and that. And going into that game, we were missing, like, we had so many injuries. It was almost just ridiculous how many guys were out. And I told him, I said, his name's Thomas. I said, Thomas, we do have a lot of hurt guys and y'all may beat us. But I was like, even if you beat us, we're still better than you. and I mean, then we lose to Auburn, and then we go to the playoff, and I think that was the year we beat Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something they cannot get over. They just can't deal with it.
No.
And it is true. Like, I mean, Alabama will always have better tradition, a better history.
Always.
Yeah, it will always be that way.
Yeah.
And it'll never change.
Nope.
Auburn will have good years here and there. They will.
They'll pop up.
And it's not, I mean, just because your uniforms are trash and, nobody wants to come visit your city doesn't mean that you can't be proud of your little dump on the east side of town.
About their kicker, 6 field goals in their spring game. That was fun. Good football here, boys. I'm so with you. Their good seasons pop up like herpes. Like they'll roll around 8, 9 wins, sometimes like 7, like last year. Then all of a sudden they'll have a good season, and then you take your medicine and they go back. They're gone for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like, and it is. I feel like it's 1 year out of 5.
Oh yeah.
Just out of nowhere.
8A games coming up on Saturday. You going?
I'm going to play in the A-Club golf tournament on Friday. Going to hang out with, a bunch of former players, and then I got to come back to town Saturday. I actually got a turkey hunting tournament I got to win on Saturday.
Oh,
so
of course.
Yeah,
of course.
So, it's just something I got to do. I hate to kill turkeys and I hate to take other people's money, but it's just something that I've got to do.
I'm just glad we got somebody like you out there to keep us safe from all these turkeys, because they're dangerous.
Yeah, that's right.
They'll blow your eardrums out with those gobbles.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Have you got one this year?
No, with the weddings and all that stuff, I hadn't been able to go till this past weekend, and I swung and I missed. But it's almost like when my truck pulls in the gate, they kind of know, and they know to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah.
They see the old Ford F-150 roll in, and they know.
They know when they see
that guy's not playing around.
When they see that it's not a specialty tag, you don't have the hunting tag on it. You don't have a regular.
Oh, I've tried to disguise myself, but they figured it out.
You did. Your tag says Coker 15. I mean, and it's got the covers of the championship.
That is not true, by the
way. There's a guy. I think he played baseball in Alabama. He's from Tuscaloosa. He had a license plate that said MLB bound. When he was in high school. Man, it's tough. I'll tell you the best example of that though is Cubs signed this guy. And the scout, Tim Wilkin, who I do a podcast with now, love Tim. I remember he's like, "Hey, I think we're going to get this guy right before the draft. I think we're going to get this guy." And he said, "You're going to love him. You're absolutely going to love him." I'm like, "Okay, all right." So they draft him, and I'm watching like the draft coverage.
Yeah,
and he's got a MLB logo. I have a MLB hat. I don't have one on tattooed on his neck.
Oh man.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to love this guy. And then I saw him play and I'm like, okay, yeah, I do love this guy. Javi Baez.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and him and his two brothers have got him, But I mean, like, when you make that kind of commitment,
Oh yeah.
you got to roll, man.
That's right.
When I hear you coming and I see that tag, I'm just kidding. Somebody was telling me a story yesterday that they were stopped at a red light and they looked over and Roger Clemens was next to him. And they said he looked over and he was just like, and then went back, and the people know when you're driving. He
held up his forearm with a rocket tattoo.
Maybe. So that was funny. Like, I don't even remember. I saw spring training one time. I know Andre Dawson, but I saw him drive by when I was doing my walk, and I was like, I waved at him. He didn't recognize me. But I remember thinking, like, it's still weird seeing, like, here's Andre Dawson, the Hawks driving right by you,
Yeah.
Like, have you ever, besides the guys that, your teammates and stuff, have you ever run across somebody famous out on the streets?
Just out on the streets? I don't think so.
All right. Let me give you another story. In college, I was at
oh yeah, actually, yeah, I have.
Okay.
I was at a wedding about one of my best friends in high school's wedding. I don't know. I guess it was about 4 years ago. Something like that. 4 or 5, 6 years ago, something like that. And I'm at this wedding and there's this lady there that was a huge Alabama fan, and early on in the wedding, she asked to get a picture, and so take the picture with her, and she disappears, and then later on is like, later on in the wedding, so I'm having a good time, seeing a bunch of my buddies, and this lady comes up to me again and she goes, "Hey, you mind taking a picture?" And I was like, we just took one. And she goes, no. Can you take the picture? I was like, okay. So I take the picture.
You were annoyed at this point.
I was like, okay, all right. I take the picture. I don't even pay attention.
Hey, big fella, take the picture for us.
Oh yeah. And I take the picture on my phone, and I can't remember how she had my number. She might have gotten it from my buddy, but anyway, the next morning I wake up and I'm sitting there with my wife, and I get this text and from this lady. She goes, "Hey, you mind sending me that picture you took last night?" And I was like, I did take that on my phone. So I go through and look at it, and it's her standing right next to George Strait.
No. I got my picture.
I still got the picture on my phone.
Yeah. I got my picture with him. Short dude, man.
Yeah.
Good, nice guy though.
He was probably so thankful I didn't even look at him or even realize who he was.
Yeah, you didn't even know. You're a big country music fan.
Yeah. And, well, another wedding, Jeff Foxworthy was at another wedding that I was at.
Really?
I didn't want to go up to him and bother him. I just don't. When I see famous people, I'm not gonna go up there and just bother them. I know they get it all the time.
You should wear your rings and just, put your hand out.
Yeah.
Wear all three of them. I was at
you got 3 different rings. It's all from the same year.
No, you have 6 of them.
Yeah.
You could go 6. I was at what's that place? It's in Gulf Shores.
The Hangout?
No, I want to say like Live Bait.
Oh yeah.
You ever been in there before? And it got like the little dance floor thing, the little dance building in the back.
Gulf Shores was big when I was. I mean, it's still big, but Orange Beach and Florida have taken over.
Well, it was good back then too.
What? Oh yeah, Florida, but
yeah.
Orange Beach has grown in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
just.
Well, you would go to Live Bait and then go to Florida.
Yeah,
it would be like the late night spot. But I'm in there
now. Everybody goes Florida keg.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's exactly how it goes. I'm like, this guy jumps up on the table and he's like doing karaoke. I'm like, man, I recognize that dude. And it was Jason Hervey, who was Wayne Arnold in Wonder Years. He was Kevin's brother in Wonder Years, and a bunch of stuff. Like I gotta find his I think he was in might have been in the Christmas Story too. But he was cool, man. But he was in there like, I mean, just this is years ago, jamming it out. Let's see here. A lot of wrestling. I didn't realize he was in wrestling a lot. I'm looking at through his stuff right now. 114 episodes of Wonder Years, Kids Incorporated, going back, Punky Brewster, Simon and Simon, Different Strokes, one of your favorite shows. Sidekicks. He was in 9 episodes of Different Strokes. I don't know what he was doing down there, but he was singing some karaoke. Trapper John. You remember that show? Love Boat. Man, that kid. You're talking about
making the rounds.
He was a child star, man. ABC After School Special. Just the two of us. That was a good show. Meatballs Part 2.
I can't imagine how terrible it'd be to be a child star.
Did you see Frankenweenie? He was in that?
No, I did not.
Oh, Back to the Future.
Well, is he one of the guys that tried to beat up?
I think he might have been. That's Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Man, this guy's got this is quite a resume here. But anyway, yeah, he was in there and singing away and stuff, and just left going, man, you know. The dude was like, I want to say he was like 5'1" or something, but he brought the party. He was a small dude, but yes, that was, I mean, I want to say it was like 20 some years ago. When I did my tobacco marketing job, I met like a bunch of famous country artists and stuff. Yeah. Billy Ray Cyrus.
You had something everybody wanted.
I did. Free dip. Dip by the roll. So let's talk some football. Let's transition. Let's talk some football. Got a game on Saturday. You're going to be turkey hunting. I'll be watching.
I'll make it in time to watch it.
You'll watch it. You're just not going to be there. Okay. I've heard, man, I'm starting to hear some Ty Simpson talk, man. Like maybe,
really?
Yeah. Like I'm hearing that the guy's like starting to kind of put it together.
Hey, he stuck around for a reason, you know. I mean, I thought he'd be hitting the transfer portal for sure after last year. It says a lot about him sticking around, you know. I mean, I've always thought he was very, very talented, you know. And in college football, it's kind of crazy how timing kind of dictates everything. You just never know. That's why the quarterback position, everybody's transferring so much. But fit is a big, big key part of quarterback play in college football. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, again, he's got all the tools to be the guy. Just depends on whether he can win that team over or not. But I mean, I don't know how you bench Jalen Milroe or don't start Jalen. I mean,
well, somebody could get hurt though.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be ready to go. I mean,
the
especially
name
when you run as
the
much
name
as he
that
does.
I've heard the most is Dylan Lonergan.
Me too. I've heard that too.
I mean, I've heard he spins it unlike most guys you've seen up there, from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that too. So could you have 4 quality quarterbacks? Because Mac, I mean, I haven't really heard much about him, but he knows their system and they like him a lot. You know.
Yeah. Well, for them to bring him along, they obviously saw a lot of potential in him. You know, You don't just ask a guy to transfer unless, you know, from the school you came from, unless you believe in him and think he can carry the load.
What do you look for in these like 8A games? And is there like a time where you say, okay, you know, after the, I don't know, halftime, it's kind of, you let a lot of the young guys play that, you know, and the walk-ons get a chance? And
yeah, I mean, really just decisiveness. Again, you know, when there's one-on-one matchups, I mean, you got a really good chance. A lot of these guys have, I mean, you're looking, defense has seen all the concepts, they've seen everything you got. I mean, you're so familiar with what everybody does.
Right. And you're not trying to show too much on offense either, right?
I mean, I think you're showing a bunch of base stuff.
Right.
I mean, you're not breaking out explosive plays that you run against, Florida or Georgia. I mean, you're just not going to show that. You're going to show the base stuff that everybody's seen on film for years, and they're going to game plan you the same way they've always game planned you.
Yeah.
Again, any wrinkle or anything that's going to give up a big play, you're just not going to run. But I think it's when you see a quarterback step back there, decisive with the ball, getting it out pretty quickly, how fluid they are in the pocket. I mean, that's how I watch quarterbacks.
Right.
I felt like that first. Again, I've told that story. I don't know how many times. The first play I ever saw Tua make in a spring game. Whatever it was, 10 years ago, or I guess 8 years ago. Just saw one play and I was like, man, this guy's got potential, because you just don't see guys make plays that he made on that specific occasion. But, again, confidence, fluidity in the pocket, getting the ball out decisively. To me, that's the key thing I look for.
Yeah.
Is he processing information quickly?
Yeah. 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 Look, I can't wait to watch. I want to see who's catching the ball. I want to see how the running backs look. I mean, remember we've lost our top 2 running backs from last year.
Yep.
I keep hearing Coach DeBoer say, "Hey, we got explosive runners," which we knew.
Oh yeah,
we knew it.
Well, you also got to realize he's coming from Washington, and I mean SEC is different. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, he gets here and even with a roster that's not the full roster we had last year, is going to be pretty damn good in comparison to most of the teams he's seen on the West Coast.
Right.
Especially in the trenches. I mean, he probably can't believe what he's seeing up front on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Yep. The offensive line going from
he was completely outmatched physically in that national championship.
No, he was, yeah, and still hung in there.
And should have been, I mean, dialed up plays that should have been chunk plays that didn't happen because they were just not executed. You know?
I just think I appreciate the fact that he's doing a lot of local media. I think we need to get him on. Honestly, I don't think that there's not a doubt in my mind that, I mean, if the right circumstance came up, he wouldn't do it. I mean, he's kind of proven to be a guy that will do media. Yeah. I like that, instead of going on the Pat McAfee show for $1 million, he's doing the local media. And I think that's important.
I do too. I mean, I think he understands the importance of networking and getting involved or entrenched with the local community, and local media is a big part of that.
Yeah.
I think he's got to develop somewhat of a personal relationship with everybody in the state, get that comfort level to a degree where the trust is there with the fan base and people really latch on to him and believe in what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because I think, again, it's never going to be the same as what it was, and everybody's got a different approach to winning college football games. But in terms of the first few months of his career here, I think he's done as good or better than we all expected. I mean, we knew we were going to lose a lot of guys in the transfer portal, but at least you feel like there's a lot going on behind the scenes to make moves and get guys in there,
Yeah, no, I feel like there's a lot of excitement.
I do too.
You know, you see these recruits, they're coming to practice, they leave, and they're like, hey, I had a great time. You know,
yeah.
when guys commit to come play at Alabama, this isn't a drop down of talent. I mean, we're still hitting 4-star guys. And
yeah, and I don't know what Coach Saban's approach would be if he was, you know, in his late 40s, just getting a head coaching job in the SEC right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that you could coach the way that he coached without the clout that he carried.
Yeah. So that reminds me, I'm going back to where we started at. Last week at practice, there was some criticism from some Alabama fans that Roll Tide Willie was at practice. Funny Maine was there, you know, like Saban would have. I heard this a few times. Saban would have never had Roll Tide Willie there, and I'm thinking, like, did you guys see Roll Tide Willie? He was our best recruiter. I mean, we got Hollywood because of him. Honestly, like, none of us would have been at practice because none of us were at practice when Saban was there. That's just not the way he operated.
Yeah, well, he didn't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, he didn't have to. He could do whatever he wanted. I mean, if it's probably not politically correct, but I don't think Kalen would or Coach DeBoer would want anybody at his practices. But it's part of the process of marketing and getting recruits there. And
right.
I mean, you're not recruiting off the Saban name anymore. You have to make noise, make waves, and recruit these guys in a different way. I mean, when I was coming up, it was about building trust with recruits and about the resume that you had as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think you have to market and show that you're going to put your players on a pedestal that will allow them to make more NIL money. And I think part of that is having people at your practices to give you more exposure and create a bigger brand for yourself. And that's part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I guarantee you he would like to just go out there and coach and go home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of having to go through the motions of getting everybody out on the field and having to do this and that and focus on all these other things outside of football. But that's being a head coach nowadays.
Well, it's part of the fun, though. I mean, when you see Willie out there, you know, and Funny Maine, you know, like these guys are influencers. I mean, really, you know, and I maybe you don't. You're right. I mean, maybe you in a perfect world you wouldn't need that, but the more people that are watching Alabama, the better. Did you watch Funny Maine?
But
you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I haven't seen him in a while, but
you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Alabama fans watching how we watch the game.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen it, but also my personality is not. And it's like
you don't watch the game like that.
No, no. What I'm saying, when I was playing, I mean, my personality was. I mean, when I'm working out, I'm in there to work out. I'm not in there to, you know, hang out. I'll hang out after, you know, and I'll spend time with my teammates.
Right.
But when I'm working out, I'm working out. When we're practicing, we're practicing. We don't need all this garbage.
So you wouldn't have been receptive to 2015 if Roll Tide Willie would have been there. That would.
I mean, I just wouldn't have cared. You know, it just would have been. All right, let's go practice now. You know, let's get this done.
Yeah,
and do our thing. If he's going to come in before practice and talk, I guess, or do whatever. You know, when it's time for that, that's great. But
he'd probably give the defense a pep talk.
Yeah, that's right.
Blitz, Bama blitz,
or hang out in the locker room, come see everybody in the locker room. You know,
yeah. No, I liked it, but it was listening to that though is kind
of.
But
again, I'm not putting down him.
No, I know what you're saying. No, I know exactly what you mean.
Some guys operate differently.
Well, look, I don't think it matters. I think it's a good move. I don't think it's a bad move. I think it is what it is. I mean, it's the world we live in now. But if you lose a game and you're hanging out and messing around, everybody's going to hate you. You'll be like Calipari. You'll be going to Arkansas.
Yeah. Hey man, my philosophy is just, hey man, stay off the radar.
Yeah.
But
did anyone ever come to practice? Were you there when Kobe Bryant spoke to the team? Who spoke when you were there?
We had Maurice Claret. We had Marcus Luttrell.
I remember that. I got a book signed by him.
Yeah, Marcus Luttrell
that was badass.
He was always.
I remember that exact day.
Yeah, he was a beast.
That's so. I can't believe that you were on the team then. I still have the book. Yeah, it was like the Marcus Luttrell was the lone survivor or something, right? He was a Marine. Yeah.
I'm big into that now. Yeah.
Did you get a signed book?
No, I didn't. But now Marcus Luttrell being around, I mean, that's a different ball game. Marcus Luttrell is like an
American hero,
all out American hero. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was
such a big deal.
Yeah, to me, that was a huge deal.
Too. Yeah.
I mean, that means a lot to me. But, I mean, he was there to give a speech before practice and talk to us a little bit. And, I mean, you could tell when he talked, that was a guy that had been through a lot.
Right.
I mean, a lot bigger problems in a football game,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, really.
Puts things in perspective for sure,
Mm-hmm. But no famous athletes or anything.
I'm trying to think. At Florida State, we had what's his name? Chris had that 30 for 30. He played for the Celtics. Had the bad run with drugs, and I mean he was playing NBA games high.
Not Chris Webber.
No. This is a white guy, point guard, played at Fresno State, and I think was drafted by the Celtics. But it's Chris something.
Chris Herron.
Yeah. Heard him speak twice.
Google. The Google machine.
Antoine Odom too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, Chris Herron was pretty strong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. Like I'll MC those like banquets and stuff and get to hear people talk sometimes. And
yeah, Chris Herron was was pretty intense.
Yeah, it's like that Daryl Strawberry one I told you about.
Oh yeah,
it's just stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't thinking it was going to stick with me. I saw he had a heart attack a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh man, I kind of connect it to him. Like he is really a fantastic dude. But he's fine now. But I think he's fine. But you get some of these people, when you can get up and command a room like that, and Nick Saban's had some great ones. I mean, I don't know what year he had Kobe Bryant. Maybe it was 2017. I don't know.
I think it was it was after I left.
Yeah. So, and people talk about that all the time. The Mamba mentality. You know? Legends, man.
Oh man.
Can you imagine Michael Jordan coming and talking to you? I mean,
I don't think that would be that. I mean,
it wouldn't be as big a deal now.
No, I just don't think he wouldn't do great because I think he'd just be so freaking locked in and just. And I don't think he would get his message across. And he doesn't do much media,
Yeah,
he's very serious.
Yeah, right.
I did go play golf in Palm Beach one time, and I saw him. He teed off in front of us.
You should have got a picture.
I was playing with a guy that knows him pretty well, and I was like, it was him and three other guys, and they were all in different carts. And I was like, what the hell's up with that? And I riding together, hanging out, and he goes, nah. He says he plays 36 holes a day, and it pisses him off when people play slow. And he's like, he doesn't ride with anybody because he wants everybody to drive straight to their ball, hit, and keep going.
Oh, right. Yeah, I heard
And-
he's like an intense golfer.
He said he was so mad about the pace of play at that golf course. He built his own golf course.
Did he really? And can you imagine like him just like being him and then going and playing for the Barons?
Oh, I
Is
mean,
that crazy?
wow.
Is Shohei Otani going to play in the NBA? Have you seen any of this?
Well, it would be like D League or what G League.
Yeah,
Go to the G League somewhere.
but did you see where?
But even that's not. He's Shohei. I mean, he's famous and all, but he's no Michael Jordan.
I don't know, man. You say that, but I mean, worldwide, he's like the biggest.
Well,
he's the biggest sports star in the world, maybe besides Messi.
I don't think. I
don't think so?
I don't think he's got. I mean, Michael Jordan is on a level all by himself.
And I don't know if Michael Jordan gambled or not, but you know the whole Shohei Otani deal right now, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
They changed their story 3 times.
Yeah, sounds
something's fishy here.
Yeah,
the FBI.
You don't just wire money 4 times for that amount without knowing what's going on.
No, and see, when I look at this and I'm like, you know, I could be your interpreter.
How do you blow that up like that? How do you screw that up?
You're a big money guy. I'm funny, and you know somebody you kind of hang out with, but you would still notice if I took $4 million out of your account
over 4 pay periods or what? I mean, over 4 separate times your bank doesn't contact you, doesn't talk to you about it.
What if
your agent doesn't reach out?
What if he bet on baseball?
You know, they had some videos of some of the games that were, or some of the bets that were placed in that bookie's hometown, and he had bad outings. Yeah, he had bad outings.
Very suspicious.
I mean, these guys that gamble on, I mean, when they already got it made, it makes no sense to me.
Well, because they want that competitive edge.
Yeah, but he bet some of those bets were to lose games, and he was like, it looked like he was throwing games to me. But I mean, that's completely speculative. But
I'm going
like
Vegas.
One was over 6 runs or over 6 hits. And, they had the bets, or they knew where those bets were placed, and it was in Japan. And oddly enough, over 6 hits or over 6 runs. You know, I mean,
a lot of them were, like, from what I understand,
that's stuff I'm finding on Twitter too.
Yeah,
I mean,
Who knows what's true or not? But that there were like a lot of these bets, like Otani over 6 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Hey, guy like that could ramp it up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But if
may only have 5 innings that night, but he's going to get 6 strikeouts.
Might be time to let my guy Pete Rose, you know, eligible to come. It might be time to forgive Pete, because I don't think they have the guts to do anything to Otani.
You know, I wish they would let players place certain bets, because I think it'd be awesome if they had to publicly place their bets on their own games.
Hey, what if the XFL, you could bet on your own team?
I mean, like if you could place
like prop bets.
If you could place prop bet, well, of course, the team could collude to make that happen. But like team stuff, if you bet the over or bet the spread, I mean, and just you had to make each player's bet public, where, I mean, they had to bet on themselves. I mean, that would be awesome. Don't you think?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't exactly know what Pete Rose bet on, though. I think he said he bet on his team every time. But baseball is a little different too, the way you manage pitchers.
Just how about I still, you know, just talking about betting, bringing it back to Alabama. I just cannot believe that Alabama's baseball coach was involved in betting against our team last year. I mean, it just is. It's so disgusting, man.
I mean,
it's embarrassing too.
So I knew he was betting a lot, and I didn't get into the details of exactly what he was betting on, but he bet against our team.
Yeah, that's why he got fired.
Well, I thought he was just betting.
Oh, they bet against LSU, or for LSU to beat Alabama, and like,
well, that guy's a piece of shit.
He was on the phone allegedly with
to do that to your own players. You have to be a trash person.
I kept waiting for like him to come out and go, and then the
Bunch
more
of
detail.
18 to 22-year-olds,
I
and you're
know.
betting against your own guys you're supposed to be a mentor for.
Right, and you're making like $500,000
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean,
Let me look and see what his salary was. I think
I think it was $600,000 a year.
Was it?
Yeah.
Good God. To be a middle of the pack baseball coach.
You know, I mean, I don't care how much money you're making. At the end of the day, if you're a coach, you're a leader and a role model for the kids you coach. And to do that, I mean, that is to screw over your own kids. I mean, what? Man, that is awful.
It says here that he was making $275,000.
Man, I was way off.
Yeah, but still, that's still a lot of money, dude. I mean, like, you make $275,000. I mean, you're making some money. I mean, you're not starving or anything. I mean, as a matter of fact, to me, that's borderline being rich, right? When you think, I mean, pretty close to it. Maybe not rich, but
I mean,
upper middle class.
You got nothing to complain about.
You can live at North River on that kind of money.
Yeah.
I mean, and have a golf membership and drive a nice car and go shopping at Publix and World Food.
I mean, if you don't bet on games and you win a few, then you do that for 10 years, you're doing just fine.
Yeah, April 28th, 2023. And his name is associated with betting scandals now. But I don't know, man.
Well, he blew that. He'll never get another job again, I wouldn't think.
I was talking about Rob Vaughn, the new baseball coach, with Matt Shaw, who is Cubs' #1 pick, played for him at Maryland. He was just talking about what a great guy he was. Yeah, he's big on him. And he was like, players are going to love playing for him. He really cares about the players. And this is a guy that's, in AA already at Maryland. And Alabama went out and another good hire by and Maryland was in a, I don't know if they won.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the guy we just fired.
No, the guy we hired.
Talking about the new guy.
Yeah. And, they got swept by Kentucky on the road. The SEC is so tough, man.
Yeah.
Bama's okay.
Yeah. South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia's pretty good. I think Georgia's got the.
Kentucky might be 11-1.
Yeah. I mean, SEC is just Vanderbilt. I mean, Auburn's not very good this year.
Thank God. I mean, oh, darn.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Kentucky's 11-1. Vanderbilt 8-4. Tennessee 7-5. South Carolina, Florida 6-6. Georgia's 5-7.
Florida 6-6.
And this is in the SEC. Yeah. Georgia's 5-7. Everybody. I mean, that's in the
and Arkansas.
Jeez. And that's in the East. So they got it divided. So Bama's Arkansas is 11-1. Texas A&M 8-4. Mississippi State 6-6. Bama 4-8. LSU's 3-9. Now they did lose the first 2 picks in the draft, so I mean you wouldn't expect
3-9 though.
Auburn's 2-10.
I mean, you look at historically good programs in baseball: LSU, Vandy, Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida. I mean, those are 5 programs that you look at and say, okay, they're always got a pretty good shot of getting to the World Series. Now it doesn't sound like that this year, but I mean, again, historically, they're always pretty damn good.
Yeah.
When you look at, I mean, North Carolina is usually pretty good, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oregon State, I feel like, is pretty good at baseball. Mm-hmm. Mississippi State, my gosh, I left them off.
Yeah. Yep. State.
I mean, Texas is always good.
Well, think about the teams that have won national championships. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, right? I think the last 3 years. Florida's won championship before. Arkansas has been knocking on the door. I think they're going to win one eventually. I mean, they've been so close. As much as I hate to say it, Auburn, they get to the World Series a lot. Butch is a good coach. And Vanderbilt's won World Series, multiple, right?
I mean, just a few years ago, it was Vandy and Mississippi State in the finals.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you go through that list and I mean, Vandy. These are teams that have just recently been to the World Series. Vandy, Tennessee, South Carolina's won World Series before multiple times. Florida. I talked about Arkansas. Texas A&M was there. I don't think as an SEC team. Mississippi State won. LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn. So
I've always watched the College Baseball World Series. But ever since that Mississippi State team in 2021 won the World Series, one of the best baseball events I've ever watched. It was right when COVID was ending and stadiums were allowed to be packed again.
Yeah.
And Omaha was just jam packed. And Mississippi State, they were winning games, walk-off home runs, crazy late game hits. I will not miss a College World Series now. I mean,
it's great.
I love watching the College Baseball World Series. I'd love to see Alabama involved, but yeah, that year really, really got me into it. And again, like I've said, I've always watched it, but that year was just far and away the best baseball I've watched in a long time.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Really, really, really great event. And honestly, as a baseball guy, college baseball.
Hell, Ole Miss just won one.
That's what I said. Yeah, like the last 3 years, Ole Miss, State, and LSU. But as a baseball guy, it's almost like a more pure game than even the major leagues right now. With the rules that Major League Baseball has, college baseball has kind of become popular enough where they've even eliminated some of the leagues in the lower minors, and I think it's because that they look at college as kind of they can go scout there, and players are going to go play there, and and it's a fun thing to do. You go watch these guys play.
Yeah, I mean, to me, pro sports is I think in the 90s and 2000s, pro sports were great, but they have in the last 15 years have really gone downhill because I just don't think the effort is there like it is in college. It's not as pure, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the physicality. Look, the pro guys are obviously more skilled, but it's fun to watch people just play and get after it.
Yeah, yeah, like the Final Four, man. I mean, like the basketball tournament.
Oh yeah,
March Madness, because of Alabama. This was the most fun I've had watching basketball in a long time.
Oh yeah, I'll always remember this Alabama team. And the cool thing is they weren't supposed to be there.
Yeah,
just you finally saw a team come together and play. I think they played as well as they could have throughout the tournament. They reached their ceiling.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I agree. And now, we got another, we got practice on Tuesday. We got practice on Thursday, I believe. And then the spring game. And then the transfer portal opens up on the 15th and all hell's going to break loose.
Oh yeah.
Just get ready.
There's going to be a lot of people interested. Is Caden Proctor practicing in spring practice?
I don't think he's allowed yet.
Okay.
But I just got this feeling that there's going to be some more.
I think you're going to see an emotional, pride-filled team this fall. I just do. I think those guys at State are really going to have a lot they feel like they got to prove. And then the young guys are just hungry to play, and a lot of new spots have opened up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I think when you see an emotionally filled Alabama team roll out on the field, it's going to be fun to watch, especially with that kind of explosive offense in place.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. And I guess we'll get back together again this week. What's your schedule like?
Thursday ought to work for me.
Okay.
Maybe Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk football. Maybe see what you can find out, and I'll see what I can find out, and
hopefully we'll know Nate Oates is staying by Thursday.
You're nervous.
I mean, coming from the guy who was like, "Oh yeah, I'd hate to see him go to Kentucky where the stadium's better and the NIL's more." And
I'm just, you know what, man, I'm just burnt out on the excuses for the arena.
yeah,
You know, I'm ready for this. They've been talking about this long before Greg Byrne was there. You know, they could have done it when Mark Gottfried was there, and instead they renovated that piece of crap, and it's just not good enough. And whatever it takes to get it done, because we have a chance to turn this into something.
Yeah.
And it's because of Nate Oates. The minute Nate Oates walks out with where we're at right now, we're back to looking like the women's team where we can celebrate winning in the first round once every 10 years or whatever. You know, the men's program right now is one of the top programs in the country. Sweet 16 3 times in 4 tournaments, a Final Four, recruiting where you're getting 4- and 5-star players, a coach that has really come up with this formula that has transcended the game. Everybody's talking about Nate Oates. They're talking about the spot charts, where the shots are being taken. His personality works, even though he's not from the South. You know, like, he just connects with people. He's genuine. He's a winner. And he's going to win championships.
Yeah.
The question is, are we going to spend our money on, you know, NIL, which we need to, or are we going to figure out a way to do that and get the arena? Because with the facilities, let me put it like this. I don't want to ramble, but when Mal Moore took over as athletic director, mission number 1 was to build the football facilities not as good as the competition. We didn't build them as good as the competition. He didn't go, all right, who has the best football stadium in the SEC? And let's match that. He said, let's kick the shit out of everybody. Let's have the best facilities. Let's have the best football building. Let's have the best practice facility. Let's build all of this stuff. And then he went out and sold that.
Yep.
He got the money to do that. That's why he's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest ambassadors to Alabama football in the history of Alabama football.
Yep.
He's as important as Bear Bryant and Coach Saban, because maybe he didn't coach on the field his entire career. He did that, but he wasn't the head coach. But he had a vision and he got it done.
To say, he was the visionary for the success that would take place after he was gone and while he was there.
Yeah. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
So do you want to be stuck where if a coach walks out, your program's done? Or do you want to be a real program?
Yeah.
And that's the question that Alabama has to ask themselves right now, because it's not that Alabama's program's real good. It's that Nate Oates is real good. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. Yeah. Is the infrastructure in place to maintain that type of success?
No. He walks out and we're on the bubble again.
Yeah.
You know, like,
transfer portal is going to hit hard.
7-9.
You thought football was bad.
Where you remember the 7-9 years, where they show the picture of the plane and where everybody's sitting. We're not even on the damn plane. You know, we need to win 4 at the end of the season just to get to the bubble. Or how many tournaments did we go to and we're like, all right, we got to win this tournament to get in, like the NC State Wolfpack did this year.
Yep.
And then we win the first game and lose the second game, and we're in the good old NIT. You know, so I guess I'm spirited about it, because I understand that it's expensive right now. I understand what the economy looks like. I understand what mortgages are right now. I get it. But there's got to be a way to figure this out, because we have an opportunity that I just don't want to see us miss. Roll Tide.
This is a hell of a closing statement right there.
Thank you. All right, you got any? You
retort? I think you got it.
All right, well, we'll leave it at that for you guys today. But I do want to say, though, is I enjoy watching the next round every day. Make sure you guys do the same thing. And when you hang out with us here, like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up and comment. We're building the channel, and I feel like we're just about to turn the corner with Roll Tide Pods, a part of Disrupt the Media. And I know the two of us have a great time when we get together.
Oh yeah.
I got up at 3 a.m. to get here so that we could hang out. So a little tired, a little drowsy. But
yeah,
but
you
it was
gotta get your sleep in for Wednesday or Thursday.
yeah. But we'll be back, and we hope that you guys will as well. And don't forget, we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. Mybookie.ag, up to $1,000 or up to half off up to $1,000 price match. All right, cut. Let's do it over again. No, I'm just kidding. Edit. Up to half off to $1,000 price match with the promo code next round. And you still have the NBA. You still have baseball, which is in full swing right now. By the way, Cubs just beat Otani and the Dodgers 2 out of 3, in case any of you guys were looking. And the Braves are playing some baseball
Did
right
Otani bet on the Cubs?
He might have. He should have bet on Shota Imanaga because he struck him out twice yesterday. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. And don't forget Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. If you need help making your wagers, you want some great information, Lance has got you covered at lanceslock.com. Thanks for hanging out with us. And again, a hearty Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.